The monks replied, "It was Siddhartha." "And how about now? Could Siddhartha even overcome a water snake?" "Not anymore," the monks agreed. "Now you can appreciate that alcohol, apart from destroying one's wealth, reputation, health, and chance of spiritual attainment, can render powerless those who formerly had so much mental power they could subdue a powerful serpent. Therefore, I do say that to taste alcohol is the kiss of death. It is so harmful that it can render a mighty monk useless." The Buddha asked the monks, "Is this substance that the monk has imbibed, which has destroyed his knowledge and conscience, something we ought to be drinking?" The monks replied, "It is not something that should be drunk." The Buddha reprimanded Siddhartha for his recklessness and laid down a rule prohibiting monks from drinking alcohol except as a constituent of medicine, and retired inside his accommodation. After the Buddha had given his teaching and had laid down the prohibition against alcohol, the monks sat around inside the pavilion and conversed on the subject of the horrendous harm done by alcohol to one's wealth, one's health, one's family, society, and one's chances of enlightenment. They discussed how Siddhartha's outstanding wisdom and mental powers had become prey to alcohol, to the point he had forgotten his respect even for the Buddha, to the point he even pointed his feet at the Buddha. Later, the Buddha passed by the pavilion and asked the monks on what subject they were conversing. The monks replied that they were talking on the subject of Siddhartha Thera. The Buddha thus continued, "It is not only the present time that monastics have imbibed alcohol and fallen unconscious." The monks asked the Buddha to recall the events of the past, and the Lord Buddha explained. In the past, in the time when King Brahmadatta reigned in Benares, the Bodhisattva arose at a Brahmin in Kasi. When he came of age, he renounced the world and became a hermit, cultivating meditation until attaining the sixfold high knowledge, Abhihina, and resided in a Himawanta forest. He had 500 disciples. When it came to the rainy season, the disciples persuaded the Bodhisattva to go into town in search of necessary minerals lacking in their diet, such as salt and vinegar. They planned to return to the forest at the end of the rains. The Bodhisattva reluctantly allowed his disciples to go themselves, saying that he would stay behind alone in the forest to continue with his meditation. He warned his disciples not to stay away longer than the end of the rainy season. The disciples agreed and made their journey to Benares, staying in the royal park there. In the morning, they went on alms round in the village, outside the gates of Benares, and received strong support from the villagers there. The next day, they entered the city. When the hermits entered Benares, again, the citizens gave them strong support, and news of the arrival even reached the king, because he had been informed that a large number of well-practicing hermits were staying in the royal park. Hermits, who indeed were a supreme field of merit for anyone making an offering to them. The king was inspired to faith and visited the hermits in the royal park, paying respect to them. He gave the hermits his royal support and patronage throughout the 4 months of the rainy season. The hermits would go on alms round to the royal palace and would return to the royal park to continue their meditation practice. It happened that one day in Benares, there was a celebration of National Liquor Day. Everyone in the city would get themselves drunk, something that was nothing out of the ordinary for that city. The king had faith in the hermits, but had no idea whether it was suitable for them to drink liquor or not. He thought it would be his merit if he could find a way for the hermits to join in with the drink festival. The king sought out the best and most potent possible liquor to offer the hermits, and invited the hermits to the palace to receive the offering. The hermits didn't give the offering due consideration before consuming the drink that had been offered, and, consequently, the hermits lost all their usual grace. Staggering clumsily about, forgetting their monastic status, singing and dancing in the royal park. They sang and danced until they fell unconscious and fell asleep lying in the middle of the park. When they recovered their sobriety, they woke up and were shocked at what they had done. They asked themselves, what came over us to lose our composure? They regretted what they had done, and they remembered the preaching of their teacher, the Bodhisattva, who hadn't come with them. They thought, if we had known this was going to happen, we would have been better off staying behind with our teacher. Feeling homesick for their teacher, they made their way back to Himawanta. On arrival, they immediately went to see the Bodhisattva. He asked them how it had been in Benares. They replied that in general they had had a good visit, but there had been one day that the king had offered a strange sort of drink, which only when it was too late they had realized that it was inappropriate for them, a drink called alcohol. When they drank it, they had all fallen down unconscious, unable to maintain their mindfulness, and that was the reason they had returned so quickly. In the absence of mindfulness, they had sung and danced without realizing what they were doing. The Bodhisattva reminded them of his parting words, saying, "Before you left me, I asked you to stay so that you would not backslide in your meditation, and upon death, you would be able to take rebirth in Brahma world. Now, do you mark my words?" The Buddha concluded from this tale that not only Siddhartha, but all monks, even those of ancient times, had been vulnerable to perils of alcohol. It is because of such circumstances that the Buddha concluded that alcohol brings all who drink it harm in at least 6 ways, as concluded in the Singalavada Sutta. 1. Alcohol ruins our wealth. 2. Alcohol provokes arguments. 3. Alcohol ruins our health. 4. Alcohol ruins our reputation. 5. Alcohol renders us shameless. 6. Alcohol ruins our intelligence and wisdom. The dangers of alcohol are outlined such in the Singalavada Sutta, but the dangers are mentioned repeatedly throughout the Buddhist scriptures.